So I went all the way. So I went all the way down to the trap in ATL. Oh yeah, to holla at T.I., you know what I'm saying, to see how they do it. Cause I know how we do it in the hood and the NO. It's street, it's real street. I've been a street nigga my whole life. I was raised in them, wild out, flighted for nights and days in them. Nigga, I played in them, I told the kids in them. In 7th grade, I started trying to get paid in them. If you ain't real, you ain't gonna be safe in them. Bitch niggas get jacked and they hoe get raped with them. I done saw niggas get stabbed and shot dead in them. No reppin', I bust my share heads in them. Leave caught niggas down bad and bust lead in them. The streets getting flaky cause not a feds in them. Putting pressure on busters, getting info from them. Niggas telling it all when it's coming and who from them. Damn, that's fucked up. The streets that change. These bitch niggas straight poison in the game. But Jizzle can't change the streets, that's me. I live and die by the street rules cause I'm a G. I'm a street nigga. A street nigga. That's what I've been and that's what I'm gon' be, nigga. I'm a street nigga. A straight street nigga. I was taught if I'm a play like a G, nigga. I'm a street nigga. A street nigga. That's what I've been and that's what I'm gon' be, nigga. I'm a street nigga. A straight street nigga. I was taught if I'm a play like a G, nigga.
A nigga thorough as they come. Were raised in the gutters in the slum. Known as the number runner son. And the dope man nephew who uncle on the run. The candidate grandbaby hustle for the fun. The yay was sold daily from the dust to the chrome. Like easy in the 80s, nigga stayed in the sun. I swore I'd never run, so I stayed with a gun. I kept my little 380 with the blade to the sun. All I fit with God, play my card, how it come. I'ma stand like a man till it's all said and done. And that's even if they run niggas, cause I know I run with a clique of wild, misguided, underprivileged young niggas. Give a fuck who you is or where you from, nigga. You can get it, we taking over the city. I was raised in the belly of the beast, to say the least. My role model was doing time, so I learned from the streets.
I'm a street nigga. A street nigga. That's what I've been and that's what I'm gon' be, nigga. I'm a street nigga. A straight street nigga. I was taught if I'm a play like a G, nigga. I'm a street nigga. A street.
Yeah, nigga, yeah. Shit real round here. Yeah, nigga, yeah. Shit real round here. If you want it, you can get it, my nigga. Shit real round here. If you want it, you can get it, my nigga. Shit. Look, if you ain't no ask somebody, they'll tell you about me. Nothing fake, nothing flawed, nothing bitch about me. I'm a yeah, nigga. Yeah, nigga, yeah. Shit real round here. Yeah, nigga, yeah. Shit real round here. If you want it, you can get it, my nigga. Shit real round here. If you want it, you can get it, my nigga. Shit. Look, if you ain't no ask somebody, they'll tell you about me. Nothing fake, nothing flawed, nothing bitch about me. I'm a G, I've been running these streets since a youngin', since 14. I've been bugging, slaying heat, ain't nothing. You won't be say something, you can get it, I ain't tripping. One song, just know you better not let me catch you slipping. Cause whatever we need, I'ma smash you. Broad daylight around the club, I'ma get at you. If you let me tip down on the nigga, you chapter, I guarantee you that it's gonna be a closed casket. I'm about this, what's understood don't need to be explained. For the money or the fame, I was a gangster in the game. I ain't lying when I tell you about me and my background, about me and my lifestyle. I ain't never back down, I ain't never froze up, I ain't never turned state, I ain't never missed when I emptied the clip out the K, nigga. However you want it, nigga, you could get it, cause shit real. It's get it how you live. However you want it, nigga, you could get it, cause shit real. It's get it how you live. However you want it, nigga, you could get it, cause shit real. It's get it how you live. However you want it, nigga, you could get it, cause shit real. It's get it how you live. It's never die, do what you did, nothing less. Fuck with the kid, get two to the head, two to the chest. Nigga, I'm the best when it come to this street shit. You got your hands full fucking with me with this beef shit. I be on some all night flight, no sleep shit. Me, my dog, and 2 Ks, fuck that police shit. We coming with it, hunting round, drumming with it. You running from it, we running with it. You bitch ass niggas ain't fucking with it. I'm out here, head first, ready to go head up. Walking with your head down, bound to get your head bust. Hit the feds, come, I'm off the scene, off the block. I know the bus move when it get hot. Shut down the shop, open up another on the other side of town. Got and I got pounds. Jizzle was a hustler and a head bust all in one. Don't get it twisted, I do this rap shit for fun, yeah. However you want it, nigga, you could get it, cause shit.
Alright, guys. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. Let's do a little adjustment right here. And this chair is really hard to move, so sorry about that. Sorry, I'm trying to get this shit off the off my little platform, but I don't know. It's kind of like it's just kind of touchy. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. It's very like I gotta be all up on this shit. Let's see. Okay, hopefully. There you go. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. I'm kind of acting like a hoe right now. It's kind of trying to make me hold it. I'm not feeling like holding it right now. You know? See if I can just let it go off. All extra close. Okay, hopefully you can hear me now, right? Let's see. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's see. Put this up a little bit. How about now? I think you can hear me now. Let's see. Okay, so listen, the internet's acting weird over here today, so with the dollhouse. Just came to visit, so I got to use the computer, so we're gonna do a little RVA. Got a couple topics, just kind of go randomly like usual. Welcome to the Revolutionary Agenda, by the way. I'm your host, Seduction Doll, aka the Black Villain of the Black Imperial Army. Also co-host of Frontline Black News, and I want to say, I still say contributor to Chicago Black Experience Against. And I don't know yet. I don't know what's going on with that, so I'm not hip to it. So, yeah. So, welcome to the Revolutionary Agenda. Girls back. It's hot as fuck up in Colorado. So, I'm killing time. I got shit to do in the morning, so just asleep, and I thought I'd come on here and do a little show. I'm gonna go off camera here shortly as soon as I put up this first clip. I just wanted to go ahead and say we're gonna cover a couple of topics. I'll probably skip through them and like give my personal thoughts and opinions. We're definitely gonna go over the off-brand side of what's going on with the Carmelo Anthony case, or the opinionated conservative, black conservatives opinions. We're gonna go over that. And watch a little Reese. We'll talk about the Diddy thing. We're just gonna go like over the verdict and what I think about that. And there's one other one. I think I put it in the thing. And I got something on the 14th Amendment. Oh, and I got the reparations hearing, the last one. We can go over that too. Because I was all up in it. A little bit lately. I've been all over the chats lately. I don't know, I kind of feel triggered, so I was like I've been watching a lot of No Jumper for some odd reason, but only for this one particular cat. And we're gonna go over what, some of that, well, not really some of it, But I'm gonna give you my thoughts about 607. I don't share the same opinions as everybody else does, but that's because I'm a high vibrational thinker. I think higher than everybody. So my opinion is a little different. And actually listen versus think one dimensional. So yeah. What else? I have something else to show. Oh, and I might show some funny shit depending on the time, but you're definitely gonna see another RPA tonight, because it's Thursday night. So I'm gonna try to get in as many as I can before Jesse takes over with the Frontline Black News fucking saga. Okay. So I haven't been on there because it's hard to do it on my phone. My shit's almost right, y'all. So my shit's almost right. So just a couple more weeks of patience. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be all right. Yeah. So we'll go over what Amended Mass Media put out for the reparations. So welcome to the Black Agenda. Excuse me. Welcome to the Revolutionary Agenda. B1 platform. Single booster here. And I'm your host, Seduction Dog. I don't know why I felt like that was extra right there, right? Not because I'm nervous. I'm on camera. I don't feel like that. It's like I'm nervous right now. It's just the mic. Right? I have a better mic setup than Jesse. And so since I'm right upon it, I'm holding it. Shouldn't have to hold it though. Holding it because I was trying to take this part off, and I can't. I was like, let's see if I can just. Sorry, family. I know that's kind of crazy, but I don't know why it's not letting me let it out. Anyways, all right, I'm stopping. This is the chorus. All right. There's levels to this. Okay, can you hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now? I don't want to be all up on it, you know what I mean? Let's see. How about now? Oh, it's still there, right? It's still up there. Let me get away from this thing. No, you're not tripping. It's like, I know my cord ain't janky. You can't have a janky ass cord if it's brand new. It barely gets used. You know what I mean? Like, make that make sense. You know what I mean? Okay, so everything's kind of acting funny because it's all up on the computer. And the computer definitely was acting all touchy and shit. Let's see. So slight echo. So I hit the noise reduction. What's this?
A major,
Let me see. What about this?
a flat major,
How about this? I didn't mean to do that. Let me see. Okay, that should be a little bit better, huh? The thing is that I don't want to, I don't want to have to be echoing. That sounds like it's echoing. Doesn't it a little bit? How about now? How about now? Why is it? Are you there? Let's see. How about now? Can you hear me? Oh, that's a little bit. I don't know. You got none of that. You got none of that. Oh, that's close. Oh, that's it. Just gonna have like straight. actually gonna try it like this and see what happens. We'll hold it for a little bit, okay? I don't want to, but I'm going to. So let's just get started because this is gonna drive me crazy. I think that's the intent, really. With this, let me see. I think it's in the wrong spot. Let's try this one. How about now? Can you hear me now? It's gonna look a little echo because you can really hear my Discord, guys. Okay. All right, how about now? All right, I'm gonna stop fucking with it because it's driving me. It's about to get. I'm about to turn it off and get mad. It's like quite frustrating. Anyway, the copyright is up, so fair use. Share screen. Let's see. The girl is blind, y'all. I don't even know.
You are a sleazy feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm not asking questions about the Jews. There's nothing to do with Jews or Judaism. It has to do with the foreign government.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson. Did you just say sleazy feline way?
He did.
Did you just say sleazy feline way? My one correction is that I think you were talking about a female dog. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Tucker Carlson. Why you do that man like that?
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
Tucker, you know that man didn't know that. You know that man didn't know. I used to hate when teachers would do that back in the day. They know I didn't do the homework, and they're going to call me up to the front of the class to show everything I've learned. Really? We just gonna do this exercise out of shame? Only in this case, we are paying Ted Cruz to know these things.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
He said, bro, Ted Cruz, you see he got notes? What? Why you think? I didn't say I didn't know nothing about the country. Literally, tell me anything. Anything at all. It is not Iraq. That is, Saddam was next door. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even. You don't know anything about Iran, so
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
No, No, he is the MAGA expert on Iran, where the only thing you need to know is they are Persian. That's it. They brown. I know that. I know they brown. That's all he gave us. That's literally it.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
Israel. High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Let this be a lesson to everybody watching. When you are speaking out of ignorance, silence is always an option. It's always an option, especially, he said these are high stakes, especially if you are, I don't know, being questioned by an attorney in court, something like that. Silence is always an option. And I'm going to run that back, because the way that he got set up when Tucker Carlson said, you don't believe that they tried to kill Trump because you're not calling for military strikes in retaliation. Now, that is the kind of thought process that I thought most people engage in. But apparently it is so lacking in MAGA that they are befuddled when their actions don't match their words, and somebody even bothers to acknowledge it.
General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help.
The fact that Texas has so much pride in themselves when they sent us this man should never be forgotten. Should never be forgotten. It's like that friend who had that one ex that still doesn't make sense. Like, I can't believe you were with Jabari for 6 years. I didn't understand why he made it to day 3. That's Texas. Still bringing us a man who's going to try and sell that we believe that they were complicit in trying to assassinate the president. So that is why we are hiding behind Israel and pushing them to attack, right? We're not doing it ourselves. Strongman USA. No, we're going to hide behind it. Go ahead. You got it. We hide behind Israel and pushing them to attack with our help, despite the fact that the government has denied that was the case. Only they're so uncoordinated that you have some factions of the government that, like Ted Cruz, want to put that out there, like, I don't know, the president, who later did so. Now, if you, in fact, wanted to take part in aggression against a particular country, but you didn't necessarily want to put your name on it, that would be an understandable way to move forward. But when you got the Ted Cruzes of the world admitting it live on Tucker Carlson, what the hell are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are we even doing? Thanks, Texas. Well done. I ain't been this ashamed of Texas since Lance Armstrong. Or literally any time the Dallas Cowboys play.
It's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are.
I did not.
Of course you are. And rather than be honorable enough to say it right to my face, you are in a sleazy, feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm asking questions about the Jews. I have there's nothing to do with Jews or Judaism. It has to do with a foreign government.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson. Did you just say sleazy feline way? Did you just say sleazy feline way?
She's overheating. Watch.
My one correction is that I think you were talking about a female dog. I think that's where you. I think that's what you would. But you know, you and the family.
Isn't Israel controlling our foreign policy? That's not about the Jews.
You said, I'm asking.
And by the way, you're the one that just called me, I think, a sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
It's sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite, which you just did.
No, I just said, why is that the only question you're asking? You answer it. Give me another reason. If you're not an anti-Semite, give me another reason why the obsession is Israel.
I am in no sense obsessed with Israel.
Now, if you intimate that I'm a sleazy feline, or that I'm operating in a sleazy feline way, this exchange has borne all of its fruit. You know what I mean? Well, let's just move on to another tree. You know, but if you're Ted Cruz and you don't even defend your own wife, they gonna go there with you. That's why I said that's how pick-me behavior. That's how pick-me behavior ends. Ted Cruz has already taught us how to treat him. That is what you got.
We are on the brink of war with Iran, and so these are valid questions.
But you're not asking about Iran or the
If I can finish, you asked me why I'm obsessed with Israel.
Yep.
3 minutes after telling me that when you first ran for Congress, you elucidated one of your main goals, which is to defend Israel.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel. I don't see a lawmaker's job as defending the interests of a foreign government, period.
The gaslighting, the absolute gaslighting that comes when people inquire and have engage in legitimate dialogue vis-a-vis people that are intent. And not just that we're saying that you're intent, you're saying that your intent to maintain, sustain, strengthen, and advance the state of Israel is wild. So Ted Cruz can openly advocate his love and affinity and intent to advance and strengthen Israel. But if question about it, then you become obsessed with Israel. It is, I know you are, but what am I? In Congress. They're doing, I know you are, but what am I? In Congress.
Any government, including the ones that my ancestors come from. So that's my position. That does not make me an anti-Semite. And shame on you for suggesting otherwise. And I mean that. And that's low, and you know it's low. So why don't you just answer my questions
I'll
in a
answer any
straightforward,
question
rational way? You certainly have the IQ to do it.
No, we don't. No, we don't. He don't even have the IQ to know that there's surveillance footage watching him escape town during a storm. Okay, so let's not give him that much credit.
So shame on you is cute, by the way, Tucker.
It is. It's not cute. I'm offended. I'm obsessed with the Jews. You just told me
you
that
just called me a sleazy feline.
It is sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite for asking questions about how my government is run.
You want to count how many questions you asked about? What about the Jews? What about Israel? What about AIPAC?
I never asked about the Jews. This has nothing to do with the Jews.
So you expected to come down here in the midst of this conflict between Iran and Israel, with Netanyahu taken to the airwaves and openly advocating for our direct involvement, while you are a self-professed operative in conjunction with the Israeli government, and that's not what we're going to talk about. You know what I mean? That's not what we're going to talk about. That's crazy. That'd be like Karen Reed giving her first interview and she don't want to talk about driving. You know what I mean? Like, I spent a lot of time on the road. I don't even want to think about it no more. Like, it's no wonder that you got mocked the way that you did, Ted Cruz. I saw what they putting online. I saw what they putting online. And somehow, I believe this might be the first time that I have had the opportunity to address Ted Cruz ever since I started making these videos in earnest. And as far as you, Tucker Carlson, we have been here before. We've on this platform.
Watching him with his legs crossed, emasculated after the Michelle Obama podcast, it's like, come on. I could act smart if I wanted to. I could sound really smart. I choose not to.
Actually, no, that was Jesse Waters.
All right, ready for some humor? Black Lives Matters. That's the humor.
Nope, that was Laura Ingraham.
Harold, I did make a mistake, and I want to say that mistake. When I called for a soundbite, I was expecting a piece of the Enemy from Within from Maria Bartiromo's interview to be top.
Morning, great.
To say about Fox News, and he's far from the only one to say similar things about Fox News. Y'all just heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene, didn't you?
We've watched for decades propaganda news. I'll call out Fox News and the New York Post. They're known to be the neocon network news. We have propaganda news on our side just like the left does. And the American people have been brainwashed into believing that America has to engage in these foreign wars in order for us to survive. And it's absolutely not true.
So as much as a fool's errand as this might be to try and understand the MAGA brain, I've been working on it for so long, and you would think we would have gotten to the bottom of it based on its simplicity. You would think that we would have some truths and some understanding at this point. This is not a complex process, but apparently the more you unfold, the less it makes sense. So this was your man's in Tucker Carlson. He leaves Fox News, tells the truth about Fox News. You still watch Fox News, but you disavow what the man is saying about the entity when he was there. Is that? And he's not the only one. We've seen Trump go at Fox News, the same man who couldn't be on their air for 18 months. But y'all just conveniently ignore all of that. And now all of a sudden it makes sense how Ted Cruz can keep getting elected.
I'm asking about your allegation and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that Iran is trying to murder the president.
Killing terrorists is a good thing. Killing people who are trying to murder Americans is a good thing. Because if you're America first, you want to protect America. And so killing Osama bin Laden was a fantastic
But you don't
day
really
for the
believe
world.
that they're trying to murder Trump, or
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then why are
See, the whites can say America first or whatever first, but God forbid, FBA say black first. It's a fucking problem.
you calling for military action against Tehran right now?
Because they're not very effective. In terms of hitmen, their hitmen are not very effective. I do think.
So they're hitmen, but not the bad kind, the efficient kind?
No, they're
what are you
just
saying?
Listen to this, man. Listen to this, man. I believe that they tried to come for the president. Well, why aren't you retaliating? Because they trash. You know what I mean? They not. If they get enough Nerf guns, then that would be a problem. If they get enough of them. Because I think it's like 5 billion people in that country, you know. That's what my information told me.
They're a weak country who is on its knees, and I think we need to...
Then why are we so afraid of them? Why are they the biggest threat if they're a weak country that's on its knees?
Because they're trying...
I'm trying to keep track.
They're trying to develop... Be a little less snarky.
I know, you're right. That is a problem that I have. I'm sorry.
And by snarky, I mean logical. By snarky, I mean... you know what I mean? Are you actually holding me accountable to the words that are coming out of my mouth? And by the way, Ted Cruz is wearing the clown suit in this interview, but keep in mind, this could be a great number of lawmakers that are never pressed to actually make sense of the things that they say and the things that they not only do, but advocate that we do. Because this is exactly how it would sound.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel.
Ooh,
so that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the...
It's in Genesis.
Not that I would expect any MAGA to know where anything is in the Bible. And I could do a whole series of videos on them picking and choosing what they choose and choose not to adhere to with regards to biblical scripture. But I just want to point out that you are using a biblical passage to inform your worldview as well as your international relations. As a lawmaker, this is something that you do. This is what you've devoted your life to doing, and it's based on scripture that you can't locate. Not just the Christian part of it, but this is what you have based your career when it comes to international relations around, and you openly advocate how much of a friend to Israel you are based on the scripture that you can't even locate. Not only that, you didn't even bother to look up to know where it was, just in case somebody asked you. We know you're not sitting up reading the Bible because we see how you move in daily life. But you can't even perpetrate for 2 hours in an interview with Tucker Carlson? I mean, how low is the bar?
Very.
But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology. I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay.
No, he's not. Not he's not a Christian. He don't want to know what he's talking about. He just, this is the dunk. This is like the Sean Kemp dunk where he swing around and hit you with his legs on the way back. He just want to see you twist. And you know what? As do I.
So the Bulls in the midst of their second run.
Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
You realize how nonsensical that is to equate the state of Israel with what he's referencing in the Bible, especially considering the unpopularity of the Israeli government in Israel. You have people that oppose them in the country, but you are arguing, because I'm not going to say you feel duty bound, because I don't think you do. This is just an argument that's being made. This is a case that's trying to be made. That's all that is. But you're trying to make the case that it's based on the Bible, that it has to do with the politics of the state that's almost the same age as me. Sad but true.
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yet nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a democratic country that elected.
He's the prime minister,
right?
What?
Now he dry snitch. Now he dry. And by the way, he's not a dictator. By the way, That's
He said it's a private.
no, because I saw it on your bow tie. That's where you were going next. I just want to throw that out there. Don't get him in no interrogation room. Do we have reason to? Because I would love to see that.
But just like, America is the country run by Donald Trump. No, actually, the American people elected Donald Trump. The same principle
This is
there.
silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
believe
Israel.
That's what God was talking about in Genesis.
I do, but
that country's existed since when?
For thousands of years. Now, there was a time when it didn't exist, and then it was recreated just over 70 years ago.
I'm saying, I think most people understand that line in Genesis to refer to the Jewish people, God's chosen people.
That's not what it says.
Okay, Israel, but you don't even know where in the Bible it is.
That was perfect. I ain't nobody. If you can't even remember that it's what book it's in, he didn't ask for no scripture. He didn't ask for no verse. You didn't even know what book it was in. And we supposed to trust you on. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Tucker Carlson was a major villain in that. That was hella good. I hate Ted Cruz. It's fucking weird.
I seen the footage of.
You see.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hidden Histories Collective. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Told you it's acting weird.
Of the little Muhammad and all of that, but the egging on behalf.
Administration froze the rent 3 times. So this has clear historical precedent.
Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and the members. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and welcome to Racist of the Week. We explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Today's nominee, Republican Congressman Andy Ogles. Now, as I'm sure you probably know, Zoran Mamdani has won the Democratic nomination to be the mayor of New York City.
So now, can we talk about the policy? The policy is what stood out to a lot of people. But right, I said the freezing rents on half of the apartments, free bus service, the free childcare, and the city-run grocery stores. How do you pay for that?
Let's go through it. So for the first thing, freezing the rent, that's not something that requires any fiscal output from the city. It's something that's determined by the Rent Guidelines Board, composed of 9 members. The mayor picks each of those members. They determine each year whether rents rise or whether they stay the same. The previous mayoral administration froze the rent 3 times. So this has clear historical precedent. When it comes to city-run grocery...
Even Adams. You're saying Adams.
No, this is prior.
Okay,
to Adams.
Okay.
He's the current one who has raised it 9% on
Right.
those same New Yorkers, pushing them out of their homes. City-run grocery stores, I proposed a pilot program of 1 store in each borough. These are 5 stores in total. The total cost of this is $60 million. This is less than half the cost of what the city is already set to spend on a subsidy program for corporate supermarkets that has no guarantee of cheaper prices or collective bargaining agreements or even accepting
So
SNAP
you're
or
not
WIC.
looking at some like Soviet Union grocery stores on every corner that are going to be run by the government.
No, what I'm looking at is how to solve the very clear twin crises of affordability when you go to the grocery store and food deserts, which disproportionately impact Black and brown New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, where I've heard directly from New Yorkers who say, why is it that I can find 6 fast food restaurants in a 5-block radius, but I can't find a place to buy groceries?
He ain't lying. Groceries is expensive. No, he ain't. I remember one time I had to finance a chopped cheese. And the bodega cat felt sorry for me and slipped me a quart of water out the back door. It's expensive.
There's a lot of things that make New York City special. For me, it's the delis and bodegas. Habibi, could I get an egg and cheese on a roll with jalapeno?
One Zoran special coming up.
Small businesses employ nearly half of all New Yorkers in the private sector. They keep the city running.
That's that same bodega. You didn't see that cat, did you? I didn't see it. They must have caught it. They must have caught. You know, hey, if he's watching, if he's on YouTube, go find the Cuomo's, because I'm sure they're looking for something to take their mind off this situation right now. And to be honest, I for one am glad they got packed up. I'm very, because if Andrew would have won, Chris was going to take his shirt off. You know, Chris was going to take his shirt off at the party. Nobody needed to see that, and who knows what he was going to take off. So nobody needed to see that. But what I would love to see is what Eric Adams is up to these days.
So this is a biblical moment. You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them. Are you stupid?
Oh, man. That's going to be an awkward conversation when he goes to see his PO, a.k.a. his Trump handler. Now they no longer have a use for Eric Adams. Yeah, that's going to be rough. Hey, I did what you wanted me to do with the immigrants and everything. Any of those cars need waxing while I'm here? Right. You just, because I got idle hands right now, so I'm having a biblical moment. That's what I'm. But naturally, not everybody could take this moment in stride, and that is what brought us here today. Because not that they need an excuse, but they certainly found one for right wingers to show their whole ass. So Republican Ogles decided that this was his moment. So first we go with Zoran. Is that
stay with me, family, because
like you just gave us? I didn't know that about you. You just dry snitched on yourself in an accusation, little Muhammad. This must be that Christian persecution that the right wingers keep talking. This must be, that must be. I mean, this wasn't aimed at Christianity, but if this is the way that they're treating Muslims, I can only imagine what Christians have to do. No, they don't. They don't have to deal with any of that. But this is the same caucus that wants to claim that they're persecuted. Now, I will tell you, I have let one fly in a fit of anger before. It probably wouldn't have stayed up. It is now days later, and this happens to still be up. I've been willing to I let one fly, but then you get the backlash, and then you sober up and you change course. Not Andy Ogles. Here he is retweeting everybody who picked up on his letter to Pam Bondi. So certainly attention is currency for him. Then he goes with a deport little Muhammad while showing a video clip of Mamdani himself. They miss the point to such a degree as they make my point. You chose to include a video of him pushing and advocating for protections for the First Amendment, which protects your right to be racist.
Right.
And also his right to rap. Listen, Zoran Little Muhammad Mamdani dropped this rap just a year before becoming a U.S. citizen. In it, he says he loves 5 men who were convicted of funneling. I will become dumber if I actually read that entire thing. But I assume you did watch the clip that you used of him about the First Amendment before you posted it, or is that too much to ask? I know you are not exactly a stickler for dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And yes, we will get there. But I imagine you at least did it here and going after another politician publicly, right? And why not a cartoon since we're being childish? Bye-bye, Little Muhammad. If you lied on your N-400 naturalization forms, you're going home. Now, here's what's crazy about all of this. Here's what's crazy about this. All of the right-wing red meat ammunition that he might have needed was already there. You know how they like to paint Democrats, we saw with Kamala Harris, as being socialists? You know how that is the magic 4-letter word on right-wing media? Mamdani identifies that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does.
You had all of the ammunition. You had to go the long way around just to be racist. Like, you went out of your way to be racist. I have little kids, and I know sometimes they downstairs eating. I say, hey, I'm gonna go upstairs. You got your food right there. You got your drink. You got your toys. You got your action figures. Just don't get up. Just stay right there. Don't get. I'll be right back. And I'll be doggone if I come back downstairs and Andy Ogles just covered in racism. Just covered in racism. I told you, don't get up. There you go. You went out of your way to be racist. And it's at a moment like this, I have to ask the Muslim community, and specifically those that were apparently on the fence, those that were uncommitted. I have to ask them to come to the floor, because you would think with a sitting congressman outing himself in such a way that, given that there was some pause on which party might give you safe harbor, right? Which side of the political flank would give you safe harbor? You would think with a congressman coming out in such a way that he would take incoming from both directions. I would direct you to this article. As HuffPost Ben Blanchett reported, right-wing commentators like conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer have claimed there would be, quote, another 9/11 in NYC under Mamdani, while Elise Stefanik has called him a jihadist. Nancy Mace also quickly put up a poll on X asking her followers if Mamdani should be denaturalized and deported following Ogle's post. And they certainly weren't alone. You could add Charlie Kirk to that. You can add Libs of TikTok to that. Basically, all the people whose names you will see on top of the racist stuff, found a way to jump in and include themselves here and egg Andy Ogles on. So it is a moment that is not at all it's shocking he would post that as a congressman, but not at all shocking to me that he would think that as a congressman. But it certainly is that people who could just sit there and eat their food. Remember how Andy Ogles had to go out of his way to be racist? Add all of those names as well. Really, like Nancy Mace could have just minded her business outside the bathroom, checking for ID. But no, she found a way to insert herself into this conversation. Now, this article continues. Ogle has long been known for making racist and incendiary statements, including questioning whether diversity, equity, and inclusion policies were to blame for a tragic plane crash in Washington, D.C. in January. Yes. Remember how I said it's not at all surprising that he would think that, because those are the things that we're used to hearing from a certain wing of the political aisle. And it's also at this point, because since we're talking about DEI right here, and the Black MAGAs were oh so quiet when that happened. I didn't hear from none of them, not a condemnation, none of that. I would love to hear from them as well about this whole thing, not just the throwing out of the little Muhammad and all of that, but the egging on behalf of MAGA and the right wing. And as crazy as this is, for Andy Ogles, this is actually light work. What he posted about Mamdani was light work from what he said in the past.
I've seen the footage of.
You've seen footage of
bodies, and that's my taxpayer dollars. I'm going to bomb those kids.
So I think we should all, if that makes you feel better. Everybody.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And one question, what he identifies as, because that sounded oh so Christian. It did. You know, that nothing sounds more Christian than that. Again, he didn't have to say nothing. I would have been disgusted if he could have ignored what was brought to his attention in that moment. But he had to go a little bit extra. Yeah, cruelty is the point. And you might be saying to yourself, well, this is somebody who we can probably just draw a line directly from him to AIPAC, which you would be correct. So there's that there. However, that didn't stop Richie Torres from shouting this down. It is no secret that I have profound disagreements with Zohran Mamdani, but every Democrat and every decent person should speak out with moral clarity against the despicable Islamophobic attacks that have been directed at him. Demanding the deportation of an American citizen simply because he's Muslim or simply because he holds political views different from your own is not only bigoted, it is profoundly un-American. Bigotry in every form should be rejected unequivocally. Yes, I so agree with him on that point, but it's the previous point, profoundly un-American. It is profoundly un-American, yet it is the playbook, the well-worn playbook of the people who love to wrap themselves in the flag. And while we're on the topic of un-American, Andy Ogles is the same guy who called for a third Trump term and supporting a constitutional amendment. He justified his decision by acknowledging Trump's actions in negotiating peace in the Middle East. That's debatable. This, he added, proves Trump deserves another term. If this week proved anything, it's that Donald Trump has earned a third term. He outmaneuvered the neocon war hawks and exposed the pro-jihad left while prioritizing peace. Let's be honest, he's the greatest leader we've had in centuries. Let's amend the 22nd Amendment and do our republic a service. So obviously his judgment is deeply flawed, but we didn't have to go to his views on the Constitution in order to know that. We knew his judgment was deeply flawed when he came in the door.
I can't figure out why he can't just get it right. Andy Ogles is Middle Tennessee's newest member of Congress. He was elected in 2022. He represents the 5th Congressional District. He is a part of the House Freedom Caucus, and controversy just seems to follow him wherever he goes. The latest controversy that I uncovered is how he has reported spending his campaign money.
One morning, I set out in search of answers, driving across the state through Knoxville up into the mountains of Western Virginia, nearly 5 hours later to Pennington Gap, the tiny town where Ogles claimed to have bought thousands of dollars in office supplies. Here in Pennington Gap, Virginia, this is 134 Main Street, but what I would find here would only raise more questions. I'm trying to verify, is there a company called JL Tech Sales at this address?
Yeah, but that's not office supplies.
Just before I got ready to head back to Tennessee, the man decided to come back out for one more conversation. I'm trying to get on the record. Okay, what is the truth?
We don't sell office supplies.
Okay.
We provided for Andy texting services and ringless voicemail services for his campaign.
At the center of the investigation are questions about whether Andy Ogles committed fraud in filing his campaign financial disclosures when he first ran for Congress in 2022. His report showed he personally loaned his campaign $320,000. Following our investigation, he admitted the loan was really just $20,000, that his earlier report had been false. Last summer, the FBI served a search warrant on Google to seize Ogles' personal email account. Agents later showed up at Ogles' farm in Murray County with a search warrant to seize his personal cell phone. Since then, the Murray County Republican has been fighting a legal battle here in federal court to keep the FBI from looking at that evidence. Late Thursday, this motion to withdraw as counsel was filed by the acting U.S. attorney here in Nashville to remove 2 local assistant U.S. attorneys as prosecutors and counsel of record in the Ogles case, saying the Department of Justice will now take over as lead prosecutor.
Andy Ogles, he's running is my complete and total endorsement.
This comes as President Trump dramatically upends the culture in Washington, pardoning those involved in the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, investigating the prosecutors in those cases, and purging the Department of Justice of career prosecutors involved in the investigation of Trump himself. Earlier this week, the prosecutor in charge of all public corruption cases across the U.S. resigned after being demoted by the Trump administration.
Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles has a proposed constitutional amendment that would allow President Trump to run again.
It follows a recent barrage of pro-Trump legislation pushed by Ogles, including an attempt to amend the U.S. Constitution to allow the president to seek a 3rd term. And just days after Trump's Justice Department dropped campaign finance charges against former Republican Congressman Jeff Fortenberry. On Truth Social, the president called that case an example of the illegal weaponization of our justice system by the radical left Democrats.
That's crazy. That's crazy trying to figure out where all that money went, you know? Maybe you could say he spent it on groceries, you know, because those groceries be expensive. That's what Mom Donnie is trying to fix. I mean, you might want to listen to some of his policies. Clearly, this is not a man after law and order. So this is not a stickler for the details. So when I see something like Andy Ogles calling for the Democrats to face drug tests after Al Green wilded out at the State of the Union address, I have to ask what's behind that. And it's a rhetorical question. I know what's behind that is exactly what was behind accusing that plane crash of being DEI. Are Democrats on drugs? All they do is scream, cry, and try to impeach Trump. They need to sit down, shut up, and take a drug test. Trump's out here saving the country, and if they can't handle that, they can self-deport. Andy Ogles, I got a question. So y'all are still 6 months into the Trump administration blaming things on Joe Biden. That is the obsession that you have with pointing and complaining about the Biden regime. That it like you still are not done, right? But if they have complaints about Trump, then they should should self-deport. So what would you say to all of the people that were complaining about Biden? Oh, did I say are still complaining about? What would you have said about that? All of that happened? Because they would need to lead first is the thing, because, we got rules and regulations in this country, like First Amendment, we got rules and regulations in this country. So y'all would have to, you didn't think it through. You didn't think, kind of like the tweet, you didn't think none of this through. And you know who else didn't? Tennessee. What you doing? What you doing, Tennessee? Because in preparation for this video, I had to do a little bit more Andy Ogles digging than I wanted to, than I ever should have done. And you know what bills, what laws, what nothing but bigotry. Nothing but bigotry. Was his name even on the ballot? Or did you just vote bigotry?
Okay, countdown to the moment that the Democratic Party loses their shit because Congressman Andy Ogles just submitted a request to Attorney General Pam Bondi to, well, basically kick Zohran Mamdani out of the country because of the long list of bullshit that he's done. I mean, he's been a sympathizer for people that do harm here in the United States. He's gone after the King illegal immigrant ass kicker, that guy. Yeah. So anyway, count it down. And I know you guys are in the comments saying, "Oh, well, the Communist Act, blah 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 blah. They can't do that. They can't." Fuck around and find out. You said that Trump couldn't do a lot of things. Fuck around and find out.
Did he just use?
Let me just say this real fast. Everything that's happening, Trump said he was going to do one way or the other. Whether it took for the first month or, Hold on a second. Let me get on camera. Sorry about that. I was eating chips. I was about to pass out. I'll talk about that in a second. Everything he said he was going to do, he's doing. So it's not like a shock. It's like, oh my God. Well, I'm not clutching my motherfucking pearls. This was said. You know what I mean? Now, the white dude telling the socialists, they want to get them deported and shit. He's just like, we don't want no more tethers here. You know what I mean? My curious question is how does that fucking happen? He's not the first naturalized immigrant to come and be in the council or be in a seated position. I didn't ever think, until just recently, I never even thought that we had people like that. We had people from that were born in other countries that were able to, be in office. I was like, God, I learned something new, you know what I mean? So for him to say that, it's well, that's crazy. Good luck with that. That could it happen? I mean, what the fuck did he really do? I'd deport Elon before I deported him. And just general principle. That's just this is how I don't really know much about the cat because I'm just thinking that sounds good what he's saying, but once they get in office, they're compelled to do the work of their donors. You know what I mean? So they're bought and paid for. And that dude will be no different, socialist or not. You know what I mean? So it will be no different. He's got to answer to somebody, and he's not going to answer to people. So all this shit that he's saying, it sounds good. It sounds good. And you've seen all these people talk about that, and they never get put up. Or if they do get put into office, they're put into office and they do immediate switch up. As far as the Democrats go, they done. Cooked. I don't the attempts to come back is so weak. You know what I mean? They have no real good answers. It's just lame. They should just stop. Just go ahead and sit it down. It's not because the Republicans want, it's just because they suck. They trash. They've been trashed and nobody wants to vote for them. Not even their own party members. And especially, I don't understand what's up with Black Democrats. Can't you just accept it and just let it go? Accept it. Your party's trash. Now get off the party. And I'm not saying come over to the red side. I'm just saying get out that party. Because that party is stupid. They don't have no answers. It makes anybody who's a Democrat look real bad. You know what I mean? And it's just not good because none of them have anything really to offer, you know. So yeah, as far as like Trump said he was gonna do all this shit. He said he was gonna do every single thing he was gonna fucking say. Like, why does everybody act like it's a fun? Like he made it up. He did. He said he was gonna do all this shit during the campaign. They covered it. You know what I mean? And everybody was like, I had a clutch my pearls moment, but they still voted for him. They still wanted the controversy. They like that. The America is all good on fucking controversy and, you know, other shit. So it's salacious. They like that. But I would think that before they really made that ultimate sin, they would have really thought about it clearly and was like, fuck, man, the whole world's about to start laughing at us. And then you got motherfuckers like, and even on the Republican side, motherfuckers are like, no, I'm leaving the cult. I'm leaving. It's about to get real stupid over here. Because, you know, what all these cuts fail to mention is that it's going to hurt white people too. You know what I mean? And white people start getting upset when their pockets start getting hit. You dig? So they don't know how to handle it. They really don't know how to handle it. Let me see. Come on.
Did he just use FAFO for people that were proven right on what he could?
It's hypocritical.
What
chips, y'all? I gotta do that.
Letter of FAFO did he not?
It can't make any sense.
We're not gonna get the schools back, are we? We're not gonna get the schools back. That's sad. Tennessee, I wanted more for you. I wanted more for you. That is, I can't even laugh at that. I'm hurt on the inside that he fumbled FAFO in such a way. It's a simple concept. Like, was he talking in the mirror? Maybe that was it. Maybe he was talking to.
I'll fuck around and find out it's an R thing. So everybody using it is like, get it. It's our shit. We're gonna have to redo it.
Houston Oilers move for this?
So I live in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee to be specific. So I'm sitting here wondering why my congressional representative, Andy Ogles, is like getting involved with the mayoral race for New York City. Apparently, old Andy has nothing better to do these days than write a letter to Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, asking for an investigation into Zohan Mamdani. I hope I'm not saying his name even close to correct, who is the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City, wants to investigate his citizenship process, saying that Mamdani likely did not disclose his ties to when he applied to be a U.S. citizen in 2018. And what is Andy's evidence? A line in a rap song that was released in 2019 as part of Mamdani's rap career. Yes. The current Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City had a rap career. So in this letter, he is telling Pam Bondi to go back and investigate his citizenship process. But I'm also thinking, if you're applying to be a U.S. citizen and you have ties to terrorism, is that something you disclose in your citizenship application? And the great irony is that even in this letter, Andy Ogles admits that this is a First Amendment issue. He's like, oh yeah, you know, Mamdani has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants. However, I'm going to take anything that he said 6 years ago and create a potentially very false and defamatory narrative around it. I mean, you could probably campaign against him on these rap lyrics, but to try to find some sort of criminal activity based on a wild jump to conclusions is just crazy to me. Hey, Rose. And look, if you ask me, the most egregious part about Mamdani's rap career is the fact that he used the moniker Young Cardamom. Young Cardamom.
Whew, whew, whew. That was like one of those, yeah, it's like one of those adrenaline shots. You almost lost me. You almost lost me with that last Tennessee. You almost lost. And you know, I've been giving shout outs to y'all for how y'all been standing up to the Christian nationalists. I've given y'all some love and some shout outs. That you almost had me. That was rough. You almost lost me. I'll be honest. You almost lost me. Speaking of which,
where's the God in the back?
If you think I'm not going to look up some Young Cardamom, you don't know me at all. It reminds me of another rapping congressman, and Hakeem Jeffries, as well as his partner Chuck Schumer, and what their thoughts are about this whole thing. Because don't think I missed Democrats fret about national fallout after Mamdani stuns in New York City. The stunning success of Zohran Mamdani, the 33-year-old self-described Democratic socialist in the race for New York City mayor, has exposed anew the fiery divisions plaguing the Democratic Party as it struggles to repair its brand nearly half a year into Donald Trump's presidency. And one thing to keep in mind, two major NYC unions back Mamdani's general election bid for mayor, that being the Hotel and Gaming Trades Council and 32BJ SEIU, which represents building service workers in New York City, both intending to back a Democratic nominee as Cuomo ponders whether to run as an independent. And in fact, they aren't the only ones that see some light in Mamdani. Breaking, Fox News has been advised to stop highlighting Mamdani's policies because even Fox viewers are finding them appealing. Well, I don't know if they actually find them appealing. They should, but up is down and left is right in that world. So it's hard to really fully comprehend the Fox News brain. I don't know if they find his policies appealing or if they have just thoroughly turned off by Curtis Sleeper. I mean? They've gotten a steady diet of a middle-aged white guy and a Kangol. And the same Kangol at that. The same Kangol at that. And that was off-putting in the 90s. I can't imagine how it would look 25 years later. So that might be, that might make some sense.
I've done this my entire life. You can't buy me. You can't lease me. You can't rent me. I'm not for sale. You cut my veins and arteries. I bleed New York. And more importantly, I'm the one Republican who can go into neighborhoods. We're the only Republican they've ever seen in the 350 neighborhoods that make up New York City that I've been in. It's Abraham Lincoln on a $5 bill.
If this socialist mayor candidate wins in New York City, you're going to see real estate values skyrocket even more in Palm Beach because people are going to get out of that city. As bad as de Blasio was, this guy is going to be way, way worse. He doesn't think that you should have law enforcement in dangerous parts of the city, that you should send in social workers. See how that works out for you. It ain't going to work out well. So, they've made a lot of really dumb decisions and we've benefited from it.
See, when you got guys out here, talking about how they will benefit from Mamdani being in office, but yet denouncing their candidacy, it does something to the brain. It does, whatever the opposite of what DeSantis' shoes are doing to him, it does that to the Fox News brain. So, I can't make heads or tails of that. But congratulations, Andy Ogles. You are our racist of the week. And I am just now onto your scent. Keep the rest of that trophy case open. Keep it open.
All right, we're going to move to the next one.
Why was this there?
This is Florida.
Florida, why was this there? I need to know. Was this supposed to be some sort of ecological retirement community that y'all just gave up on and abandoned? What? Were people supposed to ride the backs of alligators from the tarmac to the terminal? Why was this there?
right here, this alligator in fucking jail, cause it's funny. Because Trump's always talking about putting alligators on the border and shit, right? He said first he's gonna drain the swamp, then he's gonna do this and that, right, with the alligators, and they shoot them on he's gonna shoot the immigrants in the leg, and I don't know what else, right? That shit was hilarious to me, and it wouldn't surprise me though. But then, like, you know, didn't kings and shit have like motherfucking castles and boats littered with motherfucking gators and fucking dangerous shit, and that's why motherfuckers couldn't just cross over. They had to wait for the bridge to come down so they could cross the moat, because or else, you know what I mean, the horse and they shit got eaten, they got eaten. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't nothing. This isn't nothing new. It's just it's kind of like, you know. I mean, they found interesting ways to put jails somewhere. You know what I mean? So this is not like an unnatural thing. Look, they got a floating barge as a prison. You see what I'm saying in New York? You know, so like in addition to Rikers or some crazy shit. So this is nothing unusual. And like, you know, these and he toured it too. That shit was great. I was laughing and the first thought I had, man, you should see the first thought I had. But if you know anything about me and Jesse doing like homeless sweeps and shit when we used to, when there was actually like lots of encampments and stuff, and we'd go out in the winter. The first time I saw the cages, the gates or the fences, fences, they was like 8 feet high. And I had a video where I'm talking to one of my friends, and I was like, hey, cuz, I don't know whether to talk to you or call for help. I don't know if you're being abducted, kidnapped, or, you know, going to the pound and you're the next one I gotta adopt. Get you out of there. You know what I mean? 'Cause I felt like that shit was a straight kennel. The way they fenced the homeless people in, I was like, this is major entrapment. This is fucked up. This is the quickest way to round everybody up and take them to jail. First time I saw that 8-foot fucking fence, I drove around that bitch. Every time I saw one, I intentionally ran into the back of it with my chair, like I didn't know how to drive. Try to take it down. You know what I mean? I'm that type of motherfucker. Like, oh, this is bitch made. Like, who does this? Like that, and they would come so early in the morning. Like, me and Jesse filmed like a lot of motherfucking sweeps, where we would go down and like I would be in the neighborhood because I used to creep at night. I'd drive myself all the way down in the morning and catch these motherfuckers putting up fences at like 3 o'clock. I'd follow the fence truck. You know what I mean? And then the police would go and intentionally shake motherfucking tents and hit them with the lights and cause seizures and shit, fucking up people and motherfuckers waking up people, couples and shit. And the couples start beefing, you know, real fuck shit. And then they're like, you know, they get mad because you try to like what the fuck is all these fences? And we try to help them, and you know, our people's in there. And they're like, you can't come in here, but I'll let you be white. You can sure go ahead and cross the path. And I tried one time to help my friend, and they were like, no. They say, you know, a little white activist come through. Oh yeah, no problem, no questions asked. They didn't even ask him for shit. He just walked on in. Then I think they held the gate open. You know what I mean? It was fucking crazy, So this shit was funny as hell to me, and it would seem typical. I mean, it's not the first time they put tents and cages up and shit. You know what I mean? And in these little things to house illegals. You know, it's not the first time. Shit's just funny because like where the gators are, it's kind of swampish. You know what I mean? But ultimately, there's some brave motherfuckers that have crossed over. So, you know, who says they couldn't escape and cross it and, you know, take their time crossing the water? You know? Think about it.
Shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals.
I swear to you, if you left, I was over there chopping it up. I was like, you know, because I be in the cut sometimes at Jesse's house. I hate clothes. I hate motherfucking clothes so bad. I hate that I'm dressed right now. I don't like shoes. I don't like clothes. I don't like it touching me. I don't like that shit. It's just too much. It's too much, right? Yeah, like I get away with fucking being bucket naked. I was totally comfortable with it. I don't give a fuck who liked it or didn't. I love me. Now, if you was watching the RVA, because when you're getting dressed and you was bucket naked, I would not be offended. Not in the least. Because, bucket naked is alright. It's alright. It's alright to watch the news and listen to, black shit, bucket naked. We're supposed to be naked. The only reason that motherfuckers stay dressed is because motherfucking police kick indoors and fucking shoot motherfuckers in their own crib. So they gotta stay dressed. They can't sleep naked. We've seen cases where motherfuckers got shot naked, you hear me? In their bed. Several cases like that. You know what I mean? So I would not be offended. I'm just gonna say that. I'll not be offended.
Going above and beyond to make society worse.
Go back to wherever you came from.
What else?
Where's that? Where's that? Oh my God, what'd I do? Hold on, just as things all touchy. Hold on a second.
Why was this there? Florida, why was this there? I need to know. Was this supposed to be some sort of...
You got it,
appropriate. The kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
You want to talk to your boss? No. You want to talk to her for her calling me a cracker? And what was you doing? She called me a cracker. You have a nice day. Call the cops. Call the cops. And you think I won't?
Now here I am, minding my own black business. Dare I say, doing my black job.
I'm Derek Johnson, President and CEO of the NAACP, and I'm here to do my black job.
When I see this, Florida to detain migrants in new Everglades facility dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. Florida this week started construction on a migrant detention facility the state is billing as efficient and low cost because Mother Nature will provide much of the security. Alligator Alcatraz, as Florida Attorney General James Youthmeyer calls it, is being erected on a little-used airstrip in the Everglades, the vast expanse of marshes and swamps that covers much of southern Florida and hosts a dizzying array of wildlife from hundreds of bird species to bobcats, panthers, crocodiles, and alligators. Now, first of all, I don't know why you would be acting like we on a nation.
Like, look, man, there's panthers out there. It's like fucking free visit to the motherfucking little bit of swampy jungle land. Like, cool. Like, what else is out? Birds and gators and crocs and, man, all kinds of wildlife. That's tight. Well, they're gonna hate on it, though. They're gonna hate on it. Maybe a motherfucking anaconda floating through. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, if they get out, just let them go. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see some bravery. Like, shit, they crossed 8 motherfucking countries to get over here. I mean, surely one little stretch of water isn't gonna fucking really make a difference. I mean, they came through, they crossed over. You know what I mean? I mean, think about Mexico. They crossed over. So there's some fucking shit going on in the water, okay? You mean tell me there's no motherfucking dangerous things going on there? Now, if they would have said a hippo was in there or something like that, I would have been totally with it. They would have got some, because hippos are motherfucking dangerous as motherfucker. You know, some majors, like, they throw in a fucking orangutan too. I'm like, that'd be a rip. You know, like that way a motherfucker just get busy with the wildlife when you're out there. Like, death roll every day. If you win, you can stay. You dig? If you win, you can stay. You make it out and you got some of your limbs, man, you cool, you can stay.
Nature tour or something like that. I don't know why you want to make the wildlife sound extravagant. Did they ask for this? Did they ask for you to put this in? And as a matter of fact, let's actually back all the way up. Why was this there? Florida, why was this there?
Somebody had it.
I need to know. Was this supposed to be some sort of ecological retirement community that y'all just gave up on and abandoned? Like, what? Were people supposed to ride the backs of alligators from the tarmac to the terminal? Why was this there? Florida. Really? If we're being honest, this is exactly what Dulles looked like
the swamp
when they started construction.
Swamp boys and shit, and the look of the swamp people.
In fact, if you ask me, that's still kind of what Dulles looks like.
By this point, you've probably seen the video of the airport that sits on roughly 30 square miles of swamp and is home to wildlife of the Everglades. But the state of Florida wants to turn that site into a detention center for people awaiting deportation. And state officials say that it will help carry out President Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda. But there's a lot that you may not know. Let's break it down. First, is this legal? Technically, yes. Florida's Attorney General said that the project was already approved by the federal government, but that the land is owned by Miami-Dade County and Collier County. The state offered to buy the property for $20 million, but Miami-Dade County counter-offered with $190 million. Now, the counter prompted the state to fall back on emergency powers granted to them by an executive order that Governor Ron DeSantis signed under the Biden administration, which gives full authority to the state's head of emergency management, which today is Kevin Guthrie. So while a dollar amount is still being worked out between the county and the state is moving forward with construction, and they're fast-tracking the project.
Hold on 1 second. So they didn't agree on the price between the state and the county, so the state just deboed it?
Well, you got my 40, homie. I don't have nothing. Yeah, you got something. Why you tripping, Debo? Shut up, I'll knock your ass out.
Oh man, that's messed up. Won't you give him back his chain?
What chain?
So the state just deboed it. The state just yanked it and said, we're going to work out the price later. When did that become an option? I didn't, can I use that in the store? If we don't agree with, I could just take it and we can work on a price. Where they do that at? And by the way, she did say Miami-Dade, right? Miami-Dade. Huh, Miami-Dade.
Where are my Miami? Oh, he's not talking about me. We tried to warn you.
Latinos for Trump. Yep. We gonna need y'all. We gonna need y'all because this y'all right here. This is what they doing. Yeah, right there. Y'all county owns part of that land. They both are. Y'all probably paid taxes on this.
Mm-hmm.
Holla at your boy.
Now, who's paying for it? DHS says that it will mostly be funded through FEMA's Services and Shelters program, which typically responds to natural disasters.
Yep, rank and file MAGAs. Yep, MAGA, red state MAGAs, my southern MAGAs, my Midwest MAGAs. I don't want to hear no more from y'all about FEMA. That's done. Yeah, I don't want to hear no more about FEMA because this is what y'all want to do with the FEMA money. So we through with that. Good luck to you. Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed.
U.S. officials say the cost for managing the facility will be about $245 a bed a day, which equates to about $450 million a year, which is a cost that the state will pay for and then be reimbursed by FEMA.
A what now? A what now? She said $245?
But only for their purposes.
$245 a day.
What the prisons cost around?
So the discounted amount, since you're saving money on all the security, is $245 a day. But y'all ran around all last year talking about immigrants getting to stay in hotels and whatnot. Y'all want to pay $245 a day. Once it's constructed, that's what y'all do with the FEMA money.
Right. They only activated FEMA for that.
It makes sense why you trusted him with the economy. The way y'all do money, it now, yep. Now I see why we in all this debt.
Now, what is the impact to the Everglades? Mayor Levine Cava says that she has made requests for environmental reports and data analysis to see what impact this facility will have on the Everglades. We have yet to hear about those results. Now, the governor's office told NBC6 in part that the utilization of this facility for these purposes will not incur the removal of vegetation, additional paving, or permanent construction, and that utilities such as water, sewage, and power will be facilitated by mobile equipment that will be removed at the completion of the mission.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that won't cost extra. Yeah, I'm sure. Typically when stuff is mobile, you know what I mean, and it has to be airlifted, and typically they just let you do that for free. You know what I mean? So that ain't gonna cost no extra nothing. And about those environmental reports, yeah, they don't even believe in environment. So good luck waiting on that. The environmental report. You asking for the environmental reports was probably the first that they heard and even and conceived of what might happen to the environment. Aside from whoever it was who wrote that press release about all the birds and the gators and whatnot.
The Sierra Club of Florida has what it says will directly impact the fragile environment.
So Governor DeSantis and Attorney General Utmeyer are completely wrong to dismiss serious environmental concerns about the alligator Alcatraz. The Everglades is not a staging area for mobile infrastructure.
The airstrip is owned by Miami-Dade County, and the mayor has stated her concerns.
It is an area that we have invested as a nation billions of dollars for protecting our natural environment, our water supply.
Monday, the Florida Division of Emergency Management sent a letter to the Miami-Dade mayor saying the state will use the city's facility under the governor's emergency powers. The governor's office sent First Coast News a statement saying Florida will take the lead on immigration enforcement. And as far as the environment, it said no vegetation will be removed. There will be no paving or permanent construction. But the Sierra Club and other environmental groups, along with the Miccosukee tribe leaders, protested this past weekend.
Even a temporary installation can have long-lasting impacts, introducing pollution, disrupting water flows, and threatening endangered species and habitats that recovery efforts have worked hard to protect.
Now you have to ask yourself, what is the affinity and energy that they have had for the environment up to this point? And what is their level of credibility for you to take them at their word that nothing would be harmed? Pretty much wherever you can go. And I would also add a third point, in the event that there is some unfortunate extenuating circumstances, there's some spill or accident or catastrophic chain of events, whatever the case may be, how much you trust them to take accountability for it and rectify it. Pretty much at no level of evaluating this should anybody feel good about them going forward, except for the fact that you have a governor that is trying to get his name in when the story is told about immigration, and specifically the visible immigration. Remember, this is the same governor that was trying to send immigrants.
Governor DeSantis this evening is drawing both praise and criticism for sending 2 plane loads of migrants to Martha's Vineyard, an island that is part of the state of Massachusetts. State officials there say they were not given any notice and had to scramble to help these stranded men, women, and children.
When these planes arrived, there was no heads up to the local community at all.
Our message is, we're not a sanctuary state. We don't have benefits.
I remember that. The political stunts, right? This is political stunt man. And it makes perfect sense that we say who raised y'all, because, we know what raised him. Those souls.
We can't have every illegal housed in our jails, because we actually have non-illegals who need to be housed there when they commit crimes too.
Wait, one more time.
We can't have every illegal housed in our jails, because we actually have non-illegals who need to be housed there when they commit crimes too.
One more again. I think I missed that.
We actually have non-illegals who need to be housed there when they commit crimes.
Oh, that's crazy. When did non-illegals start committing crimes? I haven't heard a Republican acknowledge non-illegals committing crimes in 6 years. That is amazing. Did y'all know? Y'all need to, he need to tell his colleagues about that, about non-illegals committing crimes. And let's also address the fact that aren't you the same guy who criticized not even the actual mayor, but the incoming Democratic nominee for mayor, Zohran Mamdani, for crime in New York? Is that correct?
If this socialist mayor candidate wins in New York City, you're going to see real estate values skyrocket even more in Palm Beach because people are going to get out of that city. As bad as de Blasio was, this guy is like going to be way, way worse. He doesn't think that you should have law enforcement in dangerous parts of the city, that you should send in social workers. See how that works out for you. It ain't going to work out well. So, they've made a lot of really dumb decisions and we've benefited from it.
So if I'm clear, your jails are so full that you don't have room for your political stunt. But you want to talk about how somebody else is handling crime.
Right.
So if you're doing the immigration enforcement and you're putting people, and there is a process to it, so they have to go. So if they're temporarily held, then they can be repatriated to their home country. That takes burdens away from the state of Florida and for Florida residents. But this has been an airport there that I think our goal is, if we do buy it, we will probably eventually just eliminate it and try to let the Everglades grow over it. But it's been there for a while and it's been used. And so we had a request from the federal government to do it. And so Alligator Alcatraz it is. And so you will see that be done. You will have, it'll be a force multiplier. It'll help DHS. It'll help our state and local law enforcement with relieving some burden on resources. We'll probably also do something similar up at Camp Blanding, which is where our National Guard headquarters to train there. We have some capacity there. So Kevin Guthrie, Division of Emergency Management, are working on that. So we'll have a formal announcement on both of those very, very quickly.
Now, first of all, Alligator Alcatraz, you guys do love your branding. You absolutely do love your branding and your messaging. If it's something that we could put on a t-shirt, it's something we could put out just to show how mean and nasty and inhumane we are, MAGA is all over it. And be honest, that MAGA gear was getting stale. So I can imagine why you want to go with the new branding with Alligator Alcatraz. Now, it's interesting that you should name it after a prison. It's interesting you should name it after a prison because all of the language that I've heard up to this point has been detained, right? Detained. People being detained. And one thing we know, you said people being processed. We've had conversations about people being deported wrongfully. But you want to liken it to a prison. I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. In the same vein that you criminalized all of the immigrants all of last year, before you wanted to acknowledge that immigrants committed crimes, as you just did. Like before we were doing that, when you were criminalizing all of the immigrant populations, this fits right in with that, calling it Alcatraz. Now, doesn't it? Yeah. Because once I was in Alligator Alcatraz. It was wrong. I was snatched up. But branding. I see what all of you guys are doing. And you want to save money so that you don't have to erect security facilities and whatnot and fences and whatnot, because you're just going to use the Everglades, just put them in the middle of the Everglades. So you would make any sort of security lapse, you would make any sort of issue that might occur, potential death sentence. We're just going to, just whatever happens. Right. And we trust the ICE officials that are not identifying themselves and running around covering their faces. They are to be trusted with bringing people to what will be called Alligator Alcatraz.
I have asked for IDs. Can you please tell me that you refuse to give us your IDs?
We don't need to give you IDs.
You don't need to give us
federal.
IDs.
We do not need to give you IDs.
So how do we know you're federal? How do we know you're federal?
Okay. Yep. Yep. It all fits. It all fits in the reddest garbage in Florida. And don't think I missed you saying you might do it again. DeSantis floats building another immigration detention center. Florida officials are pursuing plans to build a second detention center to house immigrants as part of the state's aggressive push to support the federal government's crackdown on illegal immigration. DeSantis said he's considering standing up a facility at a Florida National Guard training center known as Camp Blanding, about 30 miles southwest of Jacksonville in Northeast Florida, in addition to the site under construction at a remote airstrip in the Everglades that state officials have dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. The construction of that facility in the remote and ecologically sensitive wetland about 45 miles west of downtown Miami is alarming environmentalists as well as human rights advocates who have slammed the plan as cruel and inhumane. It is cruel, it is inhumane, it is expensive. It is a shameless political stunt for DeSantis 28. At the end of the day, the cruelty, the inhumanity, the expense is all worth it for DeSantis 2028. And I would hope that Florida at large, the people that will have to deal with this facility being there, the people that will have their FEMA money ran dry during hurricane season because of said political stunt, I would think and hope that they would stand up in this moment. But we would be looking to Florida men and Florida women. And one thing we've seen before here in this space is exactly how they roll.
You guys heard about this Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz? True Florida style. They say, and I quote, "We don't have to put up a whole lot of exterior fencing. Between the pythons and gators, they ain't getting far. There ain't nothing up there. They just ain't nowhere in Florida, I tell you that. Alligator Alcatraz."
I love this place. Florida's amazing. So, put criminal aliens out there in the middle of the swampland, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I guess you better tighten up the sneakers if you're going to run, but just remember that alligators swim at 35 miles an hour, and I believe they run at 20. So,
track stops.
What's going to happen?
Right. Hey, man, if they can make it, they that'd be my shit. Come on, guys, click over. Oh, there you go. That's stupid again. It's like already 62 degrees in my shit, so. Come on. Like, get the shit on the road.
Yeah, I got the bag.
I'm moving. Let's keep it.
Okay. To any time now. He was acting so stupid. Like, come on, Forbes, do better. Morgan, come on.
Yeah, I got the bag.
I'm moving. Let's keep moving. Guys, come on.
All right, wait, before we get to that. Hold a second. We're coming back to that because I was going to smooth the fuck off in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hidden Histories Collective. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really, really appreciate it. And as always, we are so, so appreciative of all of your likes, your subscribes, your sharing of our videos. This means everything to us because this is what we do it for. So tonight I want to read everybody, but I want to say that off the top, the 14th Amendment was meant for slaves, basically, and emancipating the slaves. And that is really at the heart of the 14th Amendment for those who aren't aware and don't quite understand the full scope of it. But, you know, again, we're going to get into the depth of it. And as you guys can see from the table of contents, we're going to be covering the initial thoughts I have on this whole affair. Then we'll talk a bit about the executive order, post-Civil War amendments, the 14th Amendment. We'll do a deep dive into it as well. We'll talk about the civil rights case, Wong Kim Ark, that was decided in 1898. And then we'll talk about the modern misuse of the 14th Amendment and what will the Supreme Court decide. That will be, of course, conjecture, but we're going to stick within the lines and confines of the law to come up with our kind of estimates. So let's just dive right in. But I want to give you guys my initial thoughts. And sometimes I save this for the latter part of the video, but I really want to do this now because I think if we frame this coming out the gate, then it's going to really settle into us because this is also an ethical and a moral decision that's going to be made here as well. And, you know, part of it for me is, you know, I'm a mix of many different things when it comes to my culture and my background, but I identify primarily with the indigenous side of myself because that is the majority of it. So, but I want to first say, to start off, that the 14th Amendment then versus now looks really different. So the 14th Amendment was really a moral correction to a national sin. But what's happened, it's been twisted to cover an entirely different crisis. And in doing so, we've created a nation full of children with rights no one can protect. It is amazing how we have gotten here. And I say that with the utmost of respect and honor and understanding of what is happening to our nation now with regard to the children of undocumented parents, right? But I have to ask this question, you know, again, the 14th Amendment was forged in the aftermath of slavery, and it was really meant to restore humanity and legal dignity to a people who were once considered property, which were my ancestors. Okay. And I want to ask everyone, how do we protect the legacy of the 14th Amendment without distorting its purpose? Because I think that's why many Black people in particular.
Well, like, I gotta tell y'all something crazy happened, right? So I was at the doctor, right? And the doctor, I'm like, been really sick. I'm all healed up now. So the doll's losing all kind of weight, right? And like, you know, it's not, it's like, it's kind of like, it's just happening. But I just overwhelmingly swell up with water because my heart's bad, right? But so the doll's been losing weight, but because after the surgery, my body's just not acting right. So I've been really sick the last, this last week, like really sick. I can't hold nothing in, like can't hold no food in. It's just like that. And so for the last 3 days, I didn't eat shit, not a motherfucking thing. And it didn't matter. Everything I drank just went right through me, right? So I was telling the doctor said, like, they took a lot of my intestine and shit out, right? And they put in valves and tubes and shit, right? And that shit fucking messed me up because they didn't tell me that when they did it. So it only made me wonder, you know, why I was like, I don't have no sensations in a lot of places. I can't tell when, you know what I mean, I need to go to the restroom or whatever, because they took that from me, right? Just like they jacked me from my belly button. It's really weird, but they put all this plastic shit in there, right? Because they had to basically connect pieces back together because they had to cut out a lot in my intestine. Everything, like, I've gotten this, I'm like one of a carrier that carries a necrotitis, a flesh-eating necrotitis or something like that. It's a bacteria that eats your flesh. Okay? I just have that naturally in my system for some odd reason. Probably because it's like I've been to jail or whatever. But ever since I got sick with my heart, I've had this bacteria in my system. And so when I get a wound or something, or like something ugly like that gets out of control, is because everything starts, the tissue around the wound will just start dying. And it's really bad, and it's almost killed me like 6 times. So that's what was going on in my stomach. They took a fucking 18-pound fucking hernia out. That was crazy in itself. But then the hernia was killing off the intestine, and then they kept cutting and cutting and cutting, right? So that's what took the 4 surgeries. Well, your doll's all healed up on the outside, right? And so now I'm like, you know, I'm still really weak. Like, I don't have no strength in my body. So I'm trying to, like, you know, do little things like my body wants to rush up and do stuff, you know what I mean? Because it was conditioned at one point because I was athletic, like plus size athletic, okay? So losing all kinds of weight, and I don't like that shit, but I'm the type of person that needs to eat all the time because I burn off a lot of fuel. Like talking this shit, I burn off a lot of motherfucking fuel. Just thinking I'm burning off fuel, right? And so when I didn't eat those last 2 days, it was because I was so fucking sick. I didn't even have an appetite. Well, yesterday, before Jesse showed up, went to the market across the street, and I was like, man, I can't handle it anymore. And I started to feel like how I feel now. And I was like, I'm gonna got me a burrito. So that's what I ate the first time, in like 3 days. Because, you know, they're like big ass motherfucking burritos for $8. So I went and got a couple of things, right? Come back, I smashed that. And like, you know, I'm like any other typical black folk. Well, you know, we don't drink ginger ale and motherfucking crackers because, you know what I mean? Some things like that are just so soothing, you know, like ginger ale soothing. So I was like, man, let me cut this. I'm drinking that, right? Just to show up. It's all good. Everything's fine. You buy me a bag of chips, and I was eating that earlier. I was like, man, I'm starting to get hungry. You know, but my body can't really maintain it. It can't handle the food, right? Can't handle food or drink. So they said I gotta go to the doctor's like, you need to come in every week. Like that's just the thing. When they told me all these tubes and shit was in there and I had valves connecting it, I was like, plastics? Like, you didn't tell me that. Like, this shit is crazy work. Like, why don't you tell a motherfucker what you're doing in their body? Like, if they would have told me that when they did the first 2 surgeries, or the 3rd one, or the 4th one, that shit would have been crazy. So basically, what happened is that your body, you're like holding on to like 30 years, 40 years of waste in your intestines. So basically, what they did was they rinsed all that shit out, literally. Like, they just pushed all the junk that was building up that I had probably since God knows when in my intestinal tract, which also makes it heavier. And they pushed it all the way out, like, so everything's gone. So it's like everything's just clean, it's just quick. So I've been, since the surgery, everything just runs through me. First, I couldn't taste shit, couldn't taste no food. Everything tasted like fucking rotten. Nothing like that. Everybody thought I was tripping over here at the house, right? There was this surgery, like my body's just all fucking weird, right? So they just think I'm tripping over here, but I'm not. I'm like literally not tripping. So the doctor said I had to start going to the GI doctor at the other hospital where I went for the surgery. And I was like, cool. Yeah, they decided what they're gonna do some exploratory colonoscopy. And I was like, dang, what's that? Right? When they told me what it was, they're gonna go through with the camera and whatnot. And I was like, cool, I wanna see that shit. And my brother's like, that's gross. Why would you want to? I was like, because I want to know what kind of fucking plastics and shit are going on in my body. Why I can't feel nothing. Like, I don't have no sensations, and that shit is weird in itself. Because you're supposed to have like a little warning time, like, like, oh man, I might have to go to the restroom and pee in like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But you're not supposed to eat something and then minutes later you're running off to deal with it. You know what I mean? And so for the last week, I've been just in there. So like, there's times I'm supposed to be meeting Jesse, or I was supposed to go to my sister's to get my hair braided, and I didn't go because I was so fucking sick. I couldn't go because I couldn't trust that I was going to be okay on the journey to my sister's crib. Let alone, you know what I mean? I don't think it's okay, because when you're sick like that, when you don't know if it's like a stomach virus or something like that, or like stomach flu or some shit like that, you don't know what it is, you shouldn't go to people's houses with it. Like, that's just bad. That's bad family member activity. You know what I mean? So, long story short, they got me on like every week fucking adventure to the motherfucking doctors now with the heart and stuff, and my medicine makes me have like weird ass shakes. So like, I've been sitting there pouring water and shit just shaking all over the place. So I don't like holding the camera because my hands start shaking. So I'm like, like, fix me or don't. But this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And like, man, me and my brother be beefing like 24/7. He was like, you need to look at this. They call it my chart here. Yeah, see all the work they did. Man, that shit's addicting like crack. To read your motherfucking records and then the private thoughts that the motherfucking doctor wrote and they're working on you, and the lies they told. Motherfucking, if I would have known, right? Like, they should have told me. I would have said, no, I don't want that shit. Don't do it. Just take that out. I don't know, take this out, but figure out a way to like fuse it together, like laser fusion. You know what I mean? Like they did when my lung was bleeding. They didn't want to take out the clot that was fucking holding it, so they sealed it up. And I had to teach Jesse how to hold me down like a motherfucking bullet wound, so I didn't bleed out. You know what I mean? And that shit was crazy. They just left me like that. So I was like, man, why don't you tell motherfucker what you're putting in their body? Because I'm sure I'm like one of those few people that don't want anything animate in my body, right? I don't want no metals. I don't give a fuck what happens. Don't put no screws, pins, needles, plastics. You know what I mean? Because everything's weird. Okay, so you took that out, but what about this, and this? What else did you do in there? Because as a woman, they do fucked up shit to black women. So, you know what I mean? Fucked up shit. They take shit. You know what I mean? They take stuff. They do a lot of fucking They take it, they use it for
have strayed away from having too much of
so I've been reading it.
An opinion, I should say, a conclusive opinion, if you will, about immigration and birthright citizenship, because for us, it means something very, very different. The 14th Amendment means something incredibly different for us when it comes to birthright citizenship. So my question is, I have a couple, should the children of undocumented parents be granted the same birthright as the children of those who once had none, or worse, whose indigenous birthright was stripped almost entirely from this land? I'm going to let that sit there for a minute, because when I think about this from a personal perspective as an indigenous person, I'm sitting here saying to myself, I'm still trying to piece together my birthright. To be quite honest with you, I'm still trying to piece that together. And many of us understand this. We're putting together our family trees. We're, doing interviews with our loved ones and those who are still living. And we are doing so much research to piece together what was broken. And the 14th Amendment was part of what, at least for a moment, allowed us to do that. Okay. Now, we were in that incredible limbo of, are we citizens or are we not?
We're not.
Are we indigenous or are we not? So that's a whole nother video in itself, but I just wanted to ask that question because I think it's very important for people to be thinking about that, particularly in the context of what we call
crazy work is that we were here, we here, or we were brought over, whatever fucking narrative you want to go with, right? The crazy work is that we're the ones that built the nation. We're the ones that built the government, right? We're the ones that put these motherfuckers there, right? So off the backs of motherfucking slaves is the government is built, right? So all these amendments and laws and shit, they took advantage of, right? And they left us, the ones that built the shit, the ones they basically built the government and all this voting systems and all this shit around, right? They basically had, up the ante and fucking said, fuck us, we got that labor, and just kept pushing, right? And so the black indigenous that were here, they either got resold, reclassified, like probably even more than once. You know what I mean? Don't know really where they come from or what they're really their lineages, or you know what I mean? But they know they're somewhere here in the nation that we built. So it's important. It's really fucking important because we're still not recognized, right, as citizens or whatever, but more as property. Okay, literally property. We're still considered property if you look at certain documents, right? So that's going to lead into the reparations thing. Why I was going to fuck off, right? Because it's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander, yeah. But this is the thing: is like this is we built this shit for them, or for whatever, and we got kicked off of it. We got leapfrogged over, whatever. They ignore us, whatever the fuck the problem is, right? We're in a black holocaust, like in my office, right? Still going through it. Doesn't matter how many changes happen, still the same fucking shit. So it doesn't matter. We may have a right to vote with all that extra shit, but we're in this weird ass, not necessarily a citizen, not necessarily resident, motherfuckers still considered property. Still to this day, right? So that gives them dominion over us. That's why it's like fucking why it's okay to fucking redline us out, or you know what I mean? Because they can do whatever they want with their property. They can move their property from here to there. You know what I mean? Why they benefit off of us, why they eat off of us, why they don't count us all the way. Because keep in mind, when they started the shit, they didn't count every single slave. Remember? So I think I showed a video on that shit. I can't remember can't remember what it's called right now off the top of my head. Because my fuel's running out. But yeah, like they only accounted for certain minutes when they, certain motherfuckers had a certain amount of slaves, they only counted half of them, They just kept it pushing. I forgot what that shit was called. Just give me a minute, it'll come to me. So I think it's really important because what happens on the next thing I showed with the reparations, meaning the reparations task force in California, which I'll get into that too. I was going to fuck off. I'm like, no, because they still own us. You right? And I just been doing the most lately in some chats. I'm like, shit, I better stop before motherfucker come after me, come for me, and I'm not ready. And they're not gonna be ready. But man, I do a lot of shit talking. I was mad triggered this week. You know, I'm gonna start it again.
All the quote unquote African American. Now, I'm going to even take it a step further and say, should the children of undocumented parents receive the same automatic citizenship as the children of even those who fought, waited, and sacrificed to become Americans through the long and difficult naturalization process? That's a really real question too, because for many immigrants, particularly the ones that I've spoken to and were my friends, that process was very lengthy for them, at least a decade or more.
Yeah, at least a decade.
Right? So they had to go through a process to become American citizens. They had to go through a process. And, you know, to use a social experiment, you guys know that you don't really want anybody cutting in front of you in the line.
Yeah, check it out. Like, I got some family, you know, like literally family members, right? Like not blood related, but you know, I've been family for like 30-something years. Right? The process was over 10 motherfucking years long. They did everything correctly, and then built you know, a good ass life, right? Living like, you know, living a dream, like basically, you know what I mean? It's basically like that, right? And it went 10 motherfucking years, long enough to where you get your citizenship, you take the little thing, you know what I mean? You do the little pledge, you tell them whatever, right? You do the answers to questions, blah, 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 right? You get your shit, and you're a citizen now, right? You can vote. And that's the important part. You can vote, right? Well, some of these motherfuckers got fast-tracked through the system when we had this influx. And that shit was not fair to the people that had been waiting. This shit is like you can spell, find a motherfucker, marry him, and then bam, you naturalized or whatever, right? Then that stopped, and then the motherfuckers are not trying to break bread, and then that shit stopped. Okay, fine. But when this influx happened, when they started bomb rushing the motherfucking borders, 8,000 deep, it's coming in and shit on buses. You know, basically breaking down our city infrastructures for the indigent and the most vulnerable. They got fast tracked. They started complaining, woo woo woo. You know what I mean? And they got the oh look, we can't. It like, you know, like in Colorado. Oh my God, what are they gonna do? They're tropical people. It's gonna get cold. They're gonna freeze to death. You know what I mean? So they start putting them up in places like real nice places. And you left your people, the natural people, to live in the state, being there their whole motherfucking lives, actual fucking fertile soil. You let them fucking die and suffer, fucking freeze to death. You don't give a fuck about them. Oh my God, they just can't eat anything. We gotta give them whatever they want. So you get breaking bread with motherfucking cards that can hold money and money to buy food and shit. So they got two sources of income, but we gotta fucking fill out. Like I'm still filling out paperwork, and like to get my shit turned back on when it got turned back off. That 3 months hurt me. You know what I mean? Financially, like why am I not using my motherfucking computer? Because the internet's too motherfucking high, right? But it hurt me financially. It wasn't a lot, but goddamn it, man, I have my priorities straight. Now it's like fucking, like shit. You gonna make me get it how I used to live, you know? But like, come on, like it's robbing season. I'm a jack girl. I don't give a fuck. Like, right? But it's upsetting. So even for those people who are residents or citizens now, even if they were immigrants, and they built a family and shit, their family is like they did everything according to the rule, you know, the law, the way the immigration set up. They went, they did it. They didn't try to fast track it. They did it for their children. You know what I mean? They did all that shit that was necessary so that, you know, this kind of stuff doesn't happen. So they don't get deported. You know what I mean? So they're not, their visas and shit weren't ever in question. You know what I mean? They were told they then they couldn't come home or whatever, right? Whole fucking families have been doing this and did it the correct way, right? There's motherfuckers that came over illegally and still don't bother to learn motherfucking English, right? Been over here, I don't know how the fuck they open businesses and sell tacos and crazy shit, but they do. You know what I mean? And it's an oddity to me. So when the influx happened and all this fucking crying and boo-hooing and little fucking brown violins are playing and shit, me and Jesse are like, hell nah, no way, no. This, like, the sanctuary city shit is like a suggestion. It's like a motherfucker, it was like a basic 2-paragraph fucking amendment. What a shit. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, right? You can say no and change the shit. They didn't want to change the shit, so they let all these people, right? Because you open up your doors, you let all these motherfuckers in. You don't think they come over with like measles and mumps and shit and fucking whatever. They did, okay? Because it's a real problem, right? Break our hospital systems, our indigent hospital systems for motherfuckers like me that, you know, can't afford like Kaiser and shit. You know, we got to go to like shit that's on Medicaid, right? So they're getting all the benefit of everything I got to work for. I'm from the soil. I'm a legitimate, natural born citizen, right? Born in this motherfucking, in the United States, California, right? So I've been out here in Colorado. It's not a big deal. It's like just a couple states over. Not a big deal, guys, right? But here, so, you know, worst state before my whole motherfucking life after I left my parents' house. So, and I know how to use the system. They don't, like, you think the motherfucking shelters gave a fuck if we complained? No, they don't give a fuck. Like, I did a whole video on it the other day, but it was talking about the shelters and shit, shutting them down and all this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a real problem. But when they came, they started complaining. They started complaining about the food. And these motherfuckers was out there stealing and shit and making motherfucking food like with no permits. Right? You gotta have permits to have like a little tent or stand or truck or something like that if you're making tamales or whatever the fuck you're doing, right? And they even got over here, like in my neighborhood, where they built this new shit across the way. It's called the Stanley. Really, there's none but bougie. There's none but white people and the casual bougie black people that go there once in a while, right? We had several events over there where there's like black events. It's really fancy. Like you gotta have some bread when you go up in there. They had a whole liquor store in that bitch, and that bitch just sells fine spirits. Okay, like it's just crazy to me. A barbecue joint in there is like $30 just to start. You know what I mean? I mean, Jesse were able to eat that one time when we went over there on an event because they gave everybody a little free lunch tickets to get whatever you want because we special like that. You got motherfucking politicians and activists in there trying to do the right thing for the people. So yeah, feed us, motherfucker. That's the least you can do. You know what I mean? And so these little once a year summits, man, are the shit. Yeah, we like those. Plus, that get us enough time to be meandering and talking to other like-minded motherfuckers, you know? So, yeah, like, there's levels to immigration, because there's levels of immigration. That, you know, what's also a trip and nobody said anything was when the Mexicans could be at the embassy right here, and vote on the president over there. Like, and nobody said anything about that. Like, come on, cuz, like, you can't, what the fuck? Why are you here if you're going to vote for your president in Mexico? Like, that's stupid ass shit right there. And we allow that. We allow them to get down with their voting system. Our embassies do with Mexico. Like, come on, cuz, you ran away from your shit. You fled your shit. You over here in our shit. And you go vote for your president over there. That's why like another reason why we inside. Like, not only and it was all over the news, right? So it's not like I'm making it up. Look it up. Right? It's not like I'm making it up. It's like, come on, man, how is that even possible? I didn't even know you could do that. I had to learn that just like last year. I did not know they could do that, but they did it. They're all over there waving flags. Yeah. You know, I'm like, oh my God. Like, if you want to vote for your president over there, then why don't you go home? You know what I mean? Like, go home. Like, it's cool. Go home. What the fuck? You like, we ain't gonna lose no sleep. Trust and believe. There, some other motherfucker will replace you. Go the fuck home if you like it so much. You go vote over there. Now you can't do dual voting. Like, you vote over there and then you can vote over here. That shit should be illegal. I don't think that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's some fucking such shit right there. I didn't know about that until just last year. You see what I'm saying? And I still have questions. I got like 10 questions about that. You know, so it's like how everybody said, you know, if you're burning motherfucking, you're gonna burn our flags and you gonna wave yours, but go wave that shit over there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, look, I can't even compare notes for myself because, like, I'm from the United States and I'm traveling within the United States. I didn't go nowhere. You know what I mean? And even if I did, it was like a week vacation because I'll be back. You know, I live here. This is my home. You know, I may not agree with the motherfucking American flag, you know what I mean? But shit, that's the only motherfucking flag that a U.S. citizen, a U.S. born citizen knows. You know, the U.S. flag and then your state flag. You dig? So, like, you know, you don't see. I've burned a lot of flags because they're mostly red. But you would see me ever put a lighter to the motherfucking United States flag, no matter what the fuck I think, no matter what we know, what we know what it's about, right? Or motherfucking the Colorado state flag, no matter what I think, no matter if it's a Klan state, whatever, you know what I mean? Or the California flag, never, because why? Because I was born here, meaning even if this motherfucking country is looked at and been laughed at for decades because they do the stupidest fuck shit, I live here, so I'm part of the fuckery, you hear me? Like, and I defended, like, well, you sure do want to come over here, right? You see, I wouldn't go over to no other country, talk bad about it, knowing goddamn well it's not going to be any better than the United States, no matter what they say. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I'm a United States citizen. They got to bring me back. Like, whenever the fuck I want them to bring me back. Can't get stuck nowhere. Like, that's just crazy work. So, but to see other people come bomb rush in here, not that then be here, have generations of motherfucking children. Their children have children. Those children, those two generations right there are citizens. They have social security numbers, birth certificates, can go to motherfucking college, speak 2 languages of their peoples and here, right? And their mother and father, whoever brought them over, committed a motherfucking crime by doing that shit. And they never bothered to learn English. They never did the right things. They didn't even try to fucking get their citizenship, right? So when they get deported, you know, deported grandma, you gotta put them in the motherfucking van, and you crying about that shit. Well, look, man, there's always space on the floor. Go with them. You know what I mean? Go with them. You feel some kind of way about it because it's your daddy. Fucking go share the bus with him. It's cool. You know what I mean? I'm sure Trump will give you $1,000 too. You dig? So, like, it's not in the process of, oh my God, we're never gonna see our dad again. What are we gonna do? Right? My husband, they took my wife, man, they just snatched him up out of court. Man, cause they've been breaking up black families since fucking day one, right? Motherfuckers are getting snatched away from their wives, husbands, and children. Resold, repurposed to fucking whatever, right? Children just left on one farm while their mother got snatched to another, sold to another plantation. You know what I mean? Father over there fucking doing field work or being a buck, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, and then they have the audacity to fucking try to kill us and fucking redo it. Keep doing it. You know what I mean? And they're still in this kind of fucking condition. They don't give a fuck if you're riding around with your girlfriend and your baby and they shoot you. They don't give a fuck if they separate you from your girlfriend or your wife or in front of your mother and father. They've been separating black families for fucking ever since they could. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, yeah, that shit hurts us. This shit affects us. Just like when they kill one of us, that shit hurts us and affects us. They like, does anybody come to our motherfucking rescue? I'm like, I love my mother. They did that. They took her. They snatched her up. I don't know what to do now, man. We just fucking suck that shit up, cry to ourselves, talk amongst our peoples, and just keep it pushing because we already know. So why all this fucking political show is fucking beyond me. Because when they got here, just like when they came, anytime fucking mass immigration comes in, because that's a plot of the motherfucking devil. The devil stay busy. But that's a plan. That's what they want, right? That's what they want. And so yeah, they're gonna go ahead and let them populate a little bit, and then they're gonna do what they do, like right now. You see what I'm saying? Because they want to build up them fucking white supremacist numbers, you know what I mean? And shit, you fair skin, like whatever, they're gonna do that. Dude, one time Jesse asked me the other day what I would do if they picked me up because I was making a joke. I used to do that like a long time ago too about this. Like shit, I could enjoy a free vacation. Right? I was like, that shit is ridiculous, deporting us. I was like, but he said it, and I didn't really recognize it because I don't really like. I only see a mirror when I go to the restroom. There's one mirror, and it's unflattering like a motherfucker. I get into the bathroom, and I was like, he said, "What about you, cuz? Like, what if they grab you up, snatch you up right now?" And I was like, "What the fuck you mean, cuz? Like, what do you mean? Like, they can't deport me. I'm an American citizen. Like, I'm from the soil. What the fuck you mean like that?" He said, "Cause of your looks." I was like, well, first off, like, you don't got a problem with black people staying with an ID. We stay with an ID, right? Some way, shape, or form. We got a motherfucking ID. We either our pictures on a fucking library card or a motherfucking bus transit card or fucking a state ID. We stay with a motherfucking ID, right? Oh, like you gonna need a bill or something. Like, bitch, we stay with bills. What the fuck you mean? We always got ones lying around somewhere nearby. Here, you can look at it while you're at it, pay that bitch shit. You know what I mean? I guess you won't do that, but you want to live all nosy. Right? You talk about, like, prove our identity. First of all, we're FBA because our wiggle out is fucking tremendous, okay? Wiggle out, we just playing basketball. Bitch, catch me. Shit. Or fucking lay down like, man, come on. I'm going to make you work for this. Like, that's us. Like, we're not going to just take that shit, you know what I mean? First off. He's asking me that. I was like, okay. He's like, because you're ambiguous looking, right? And you could probably get rounded up. I said, first of all, they're going to have to stop me. And I don't stop just to bullshit, right? Like, you literally going to have to pull in front of me. And I might just wiggle around you because my driving skills are fucking immense, right? I'm going to make you kind of chase me because that has been known. I've been known to get on the freeway with the police right behind me. Real shit. Been known to do that a couple of times. And I'm just like, Google Maps led me. Right? Real shit. Real shit. Ask Jesse. It's happened, right? So that shit was crazy. I was riding heavy and everything. I looked like a straight motherfucking killer that night. I put it on video too. It was funny. Yeah, they straight chased me 3 cars deep on the freeway. They weren't chasing me, they were following me, but the way it looked like they were chasing me. And I was going with how it looked. Like, you motherfuckers, you motherfuckers are so cowardice. But yeah, no. I said, first of all, I could enjoy a free vacation. I'd probably go up in there for a second, but where would they place me? They'd have to figure it out. And once I got in there, the simple thing is to fingerprint a motherfucker. As soon as they fingerprint me, they gotta let me go. Hey, because I'm a motherfucker, I'm a thug. Well, because I'm a fucking felon, hey, that's off top. Because I'm in the system as an American motherfucking citizen, right off top. I'm gonna go with my jail format because it's like Black, Indian, and French from here. Let that bitch out, right? And that's what they would have to do because they couldn't keep me. They couldn't lawfully keep me. Once I got fingerprinted, that's a wrap right there. They might as well just go ahead and open the gate and give me a free lunch on the way out. Tell me they're sorry. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm sure you are, bitch. It's going on the news, right? But other than that, they couldn't do shit with me because I would get out of that. First, if I didn't get out of it with the motherfucking, they asked me for an ID. I'm like, shit. Yeah, I got that. Try to say I'm from some other country. Bitch, your mama. No way. You know what I mean? Even if, like, nah. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? I'm not from another country. I don't give a fuck what my sleeper cell mother is from. But I know she's not from another country either. So, you know, you dig? Like, I would kind of, first I would think it was funny. And I think I would get in a vacation to some tropical place. It's like, pick your poison. I mean, I can go anywhere. I'm ambiguous. I can go anywhere, right? But it wouldn't get very far. I'd probably get like maybe being there for like a whole day because they're slow. But once I got fingerprinted, they'd have to let me go, like immediately. They'd have to. Because if I know anything and this motherfucker's been locked up, I'm gonna find a way to get my message outside. The motherfucker's gonna come and get me, you know what I mean? And it won't be the motherfucking activists out there, free Brandy. No, it won't be that. It'll be real motherfuckers coming to pick me up, right? They got some kind of pool that I know that'll just go ahead and just do that little light work and say, hey, you done fucked up. Go ahead and let her out. You know what I mean? With all her shit. Thank you very much. And then I'm just gonna drive 9 blocks to my apartment and laugh all the way home. You dig? So when he asked me that, I was like, I didn't really think about it. I was like, nah, because that couldn't happen. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh shit. When I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I was like, I kind of do look like one of them light-skinned motherfuckers. But it would only be funny to me, you know what I mean? Because as much as I speak 5 languages, I don't speak them willingly. Now I make them work. Like, look, you're not gonna get me speaking Spanish just because you don't want to speak English. This is my motherfucking nation, cuz speak English, right? You know what I mean? True start yesterday. We go buy a pack of cigarettes, and the lady said, she told me in Spanish, she said, tu moreno compra largos, right? Because I bought a box of shorts, like a box of short squares, Newport shorts, the box, right? And I was just kind of like, you know, Jesse was on his way, and I was like, man, fuck it, I really want a cigarette, but they didn't have the longs, right? So I was like, okay, cool. But she said, tu moreno. But in my mind, and all I heard was, your nigga usually get the longs. That's how I heard it in my head. Yeah, and I started giggling to myself. I was like, that shit wasn't racist. I don't know what was. Because I can't translate it any other way except that way. Then I heard it in my brain, like, tu moreno compra eso. And I was like, your nigga buys these ones, but we only got these ones. I was like, yeah, okay, bitch, whatever. Just give me whatever you can. You know what I mean? And I thought that shit was hilarious. Because he goes in there all the time. He goes in there all the time, so they know I'm really like, and they know it's like, damn, I don't even go with them, but they know that that's my dude. I kind of felt pretty singled out right there. You know, so carry on.
You don't. I don't care if you're grocery shopping or waiting for your prescriptions or even waiting for your food. You really don't want anybody cutting in front of you in the line. You want people to go in the back. And even if you're the nice one and you say, oh, hey, yeah, you can go ahead of me, the people behind you are going to complain. So this is a real question. And we have to begin using citizenship documents, passports, social security numbers for children born in the U.S. when either their mother or the father were not U.S. citizens, or I should say, either unlawfully present in the U.S. or lawfully present temporarily. Okay, so that was really, really important for that executive order to make really clear that going forward, at least from the president's perspective, that there was not going to be any automatic birthright citizenships for people who were unlawfully present in the United States. Okay, now what that did was the changes were scheduled to take effect 30 days later, so basically on February 19th, and that applied only to births on or after that date. Now, again, children born on or after that date to undocumented parents or temporary visa holders were not automatically granted U.S. citizens, even if they were born on U.S. soil. So, for instance, right now, if your baby was born on or after that date, your baby doesn't have birthright citizenship right now. That's just the way it is from the perspective of the president. Okay. So that includes no birth certificate, social security number, or passport or proof of citizenship. So there's going to be many parents who've had children during that time that are probably going to be waiting with anticipation to see what the Supreme Court says as well. So it's a huge, huge case that is going to leave some people in legal limbo, which they are right now. So let's talk about the post-Civil War amendments, because we talk about the 14th Amendment, but it was a collective group of amendments that were created, right? So in 1865, as many of you know, the 13th Amendment was officially proclaimed, and the abolishment of slavery and involuntary servitude went into effect. And it was the first of the 3 Reconstruction or Civil War amendments that was passed. That was 1865. Now in 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868 after the Civil War. So it also included what we now know to have a citizenship clause, which broadly defines citizenship, and it superseded the Supreme Court's decision in the Dred Scott versus Sanford case. Right? So, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So pay very special attention to the phrase, to the jurisdiction thereof, because I will be covering that. So that happened in 1868. And then in 1870, now we have the third or the last of the Reconstruction Amendments, which was the 15th Amendment, which allowed citizens the right to vote. So you essentially, you free the slaves, you give them citizenship, and then you allow them the right to vote. Right? So there were 3 amendments that were all tied together. So, and this is very important for people to understand, because sometimes when people talk about the 14th Amendment, they talk about it as if it's a standalone, and it really wasn't. It was actually a combined kind of story that was being amended to the Constitution. Right? Now, let's dive into the 14th Amendment and talk a little bit about that. Okay. Now, again, it was ratified in 1868 after the Civil War, and it was really designed to nullify the Dred Scott decision in 1857, which, as you guys know, the Dred Scott decision basically said that if you were African American and you were a slave, that you were not a U.S. citizen. You could not be granted citizenship. So that's a whole nother video that I will be doing in the future, because it was a really, really important case, and it caused a major uproar in the United States at the time the decision was made. And in many cases, folks will say that it was probably one of the worst Supreme Court decisions in history. Now, once the amendment was ratified, granted freedom to freed slaves. So again, remember, freed slaves were not just the quote-unquote African Americans. You're talking about whites too. There were Indians. So there were many different people in the country who were slaves, right? And you guys have seen me talk about this in other videos, and please refer to some of them, because I do talk about this in length. So when we talk about the slaves, we are also talking about a subset of slaves that people just don't talk about. No one wants to go into that detail, but that's true. So what it also did was it reinforced the federal authority over Southern states who were denying Black citizenship, i.e. the Black Codes. Now, the Black Codes were basically laws that Southern states were implementing, and it was almost putting, not almost, but in some ways it was putting many Black people back into slavery again. And the folks in Congress said, "No, we're not going to do that." So in essence, The 14th Amendment was crafted to establish civil rights protections for newly freed slaves and to counter the Black codes or state laws passed in the South to restrict the freedom of former slaves. So that is the 14th Amendment. Now, I want to share with you guys some of the key figures who were very instrumental in writing that amendment and in giving it life. And one of those people was John Bingham, and he was a radical Republican out of Ohio. He was an abolitionist and the principal framer of the amendment. And Bingham was also focused on nationalizing the Bill of Rights. So he was a key figure there. We also have Jacob Howard out of Michigan. He was another Republican senator. He had many different titles in Michigan, city attorney for Detroit. He was the attorney general for Michigan as well. And as a senator, he was the chief sponsor of what the False Claims Act, which permitted whistleblowers to file lawsuits against the government contractors for fraud. So if we know anything about whistleblowers, we know how vital they are to uncovering fraud, uncovering deception and corruption. And Jacob Howard was one of those lawmakers who wanted to protect the whistleblowers, which I think he has fascinating history all by himself. And then, of course, we have Thaddeus Stevens out of Pennsylvania. Now, he was one of the main leaders of the radical Republicans faction of the Republican Party during the 1860s. And he was a fierce opponent of slavery and discrimination against Black Americans. And Stevens sought to secure their rights during Reconstruction and leading the opposition to U.S. President Andrew Johnson as well. And he played a leading role in defeating the Confederacy. So all three of these men had significant reasons behind why they were putting together these amendments. And really, when you think about it, you know, if these amendments had not been put just by another name. Now, what's really important, particularly with regard to the 14th Amendment, is the Citizenship Clause. And in Section 1 of that, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States in the state wherein they reside. So pay very close attention to that, because I'm going to dive into that a bit. Now, one of the things that we talk about when we look at Supreme Court cases or we look at amendments and all of these things is